shots. What's up, guys? Welcome to Camera Lady's Nightmare. It's like 20 degrees out here, or it will be soon. Everything's frosting over. It's only like, what, not even, it's like 7 o'clock. Anyways, so we're out here for astro stuff. No B-roll, no extensive extra flashy stuff for this video because it is really cold and we want to go back to the car. So what do we do?
About to rebel.
The camera's what?
The camera's about to rebel.
Yeah, we gotta watch the batteries to make sure the batteries don't freeze. It is really cold out here. So what we're doing out here is LumeCube sent me this, their new Panel Pro, and disclaimer, this is not sponsored, I'm not being paid for anything. However, they did send me this for free, so I have procured this and I'm very excited about that. But they just asked me if I wanted to test it out. They didn't give me any direction or anything. Everything I say and drop is my own. It's tough and it's grassy. But I did get this for free, so that's the disclaimer. But this isn't a review. This is just me using it how I would normally use all of my other LumeCube products, which are lighting me and which are going to light this tree. And I love LumeCube and I'm really appreciative. So the link in the it's so cold out here, so the link will be in the description for below if you want to check this out. And if I can get through this and like speak like a normal English speaking human being, that will be impressive, because it is just getting cold. So what are we doing? I'm going to do my favorite thing. I've got my R6 here set up with my 16-35, and you can't see it, but I have a big beautiful tree right there, the tree that I love so much. I got a really nice sunset shot of this tree on the way out here. So what I've done is I've lined up the tree underneath Polaris, which is the North Star, and I'm going to do a time lapse, but not for a time lapse purpose, because I'm going to turn it into a long exposure. And the beauty of this LumeCube Panel Pro, I did mention it's the Panel Pro, right? It's the Panel Pro. The beauty of this bad boy is that it is RGB. I have been waiting and begging and asking and pleading LumeCube for probably the last 2 or 3 years to do an RGB light. So what does RGB mean? So RGB refers to the color temperature. Basically what that means, without getting super sciencey on you, is that I can do any color I want. There is every single color, 360 degrees of color on the color wheel, and I am changing them right now. And whatever color I want, I will be able to have. And this light does a lot of fancy stuff, like you being able to use the app and dial in the numbers. And you can see the numbers back here on this panel that you can't see, that I'm not going to show you, because again, this isn't a review. This is just going to be me using it how I normally use it. But I did want to mention that the reason why I'm so excited about this is because of the RGB colorness. Okay, I have to sit down. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. All right, I gotta sit down because my broken legs, my broken knees can't handle sitting like that. But, all right, how's that? Can you see me changing colors now?
Yeah, here we go. Oh, okay.
So I'm just holding this down and cycling through the colors. It's 360 degrees of color. And like I said, you can dial it in and be really specific and get the number. So if you have a specific color you need, or you need to link up multiple of them or whatever, you can do that. For this purpose, since I'm only using one and I'm just messing around, I'm going to be able to use any color that I want. And I'm going to go ahead and try like a pink color. And what I'm going to do is light up that tree. And I'm going to do it a couple different ways. I'll do it the standard way and just light it up. And then I might have one of us like run a circle around it or something in a different color and see what that looks like, and do a little bit of light painting. We're going to do this with a time lapse. So I've got this set up. I'll walk you through my settings real quick. Actually, I need to change my settings. So I have it at 30 seconds. Which, you know what, because this is a time lapse, 30 seconds will be okay. I'm going to go down to 25 seconds. I'm at ISO 3200, 25 seconds, f4, because this is my 16-35 f4. Very important, quick tip. If you're on a tripod and you're doing astro stuff, or you're doing long exposure stuff in general, turn off your put it in manual focus, of course, first, but also turn off your image stabilization. So I've mentioned that in other videos, but if you leave your image stabilization on when a tripod and you have a long exposure, it can artificially create movement because it's just weird like that. So that's a quick tip. All right, 25 seconds, f4, 3200. We're gonna have to turn this light off so I can go run around with this. So Brittany, you wanna go ahead and turn that light off? So we're pink. I wanted something a little warmer, but a little different than just a regular warm to combat the blue and to contrast the blue. So I'm gonna try a pinky color. Now I'm going to bump up. I'm at 5% right now. All right, so I'm at 30% right now. And we're gonna go ahead and take the shot. Oh wow, that was really...
That was too bright.
Okay, so this is why, can you still see me?
Yeah.
So this is why we're doing the testing. So that shot, the ground was super bright. So I think what I'm gonna try next, I'm gonna keep the same light, but I'm gonna drop it back down to 5% and I'm gonna go lay it under there. And then that way it's only shining up in the area that I want. All right, so that looks pretty cool. We definitely have some hot spots though. Some pink hot spots. So what I would do to combat that is I like the placement of the light. However, I don't like that hot spot. So we can either take a regular shot and then paint in the grass that's not lit up on the next shot without the light, which I already took. But also I forgot to mention, did I mention that the real reason why we're out here, not just for the Lume Cube thing, is because it's the Geminid meteor shower tonight. So we are hoping to capture some meteorites, and I've already got a couple in the frame. They're not the most amazing things, but when I put them together for the time lapse, you will see them in the blend. So that should look pretty cool. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, we're shaking like severely, like both of us. There's like frost developing on our cameras. It hasn't been this cold in a long time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the time lapse and I'm gonna get this going with the settings that I want. And then I'm just gonna run around like a crazy person with the light in different places in different ways. And then I'm gonna pick out whichever shots that I like the most and whatever colors that I like the most. Brittany has requested that I do an aqua color, so we're gonna give that a go. And I'm gonna try some warmer colors, maybe even a real yellow color to yellow and blues, or kind of orange and blues are kind of complementary colors, so I'm gonna try that. So unfortunately there's not gonna be any B-roll. I'm just gonna cut straight to it, and we'll see you in just a second. Right, good morning. It is now about 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's about 12 hours later. I think Brittany is probably still frozen to her bed. It was 37 when we went out there last night, right before sunset, and then by 8 o'clock when we were wrapping things up, it was 19, 20, so it got cold. The cameras were freezing. My bag was like frozen over. There was ice on everything. It was crazy. That's a little unusual for this far south in New Mexico for sure. So I figured I'd just bring you guys along with me while I look at some of the images. I've already edited one of them. It's probably the only one that I'm going to end up editing. And it was an amalgamation of images from the time lapse and from a couple of the running bits that we did with the Lume Cube. Oh yeah, did you guys notice? So it makes a really great accent light too. It's just over there. I've got it on the loop setting. They have a bunch of different settings. It's pretty cool. It just changes, goes through the entire 360 color. The only downside is I don't think there's a way to control the speed at which it shifts and loops. So it's going kind of fast. So for a background setting, like it works pretty well. But for doing what I did last night with this image, basically what I had to do for that image is, let me stop this for a second. Oh, I like the fire setting. That one's pretty cool. Has a bunch of different built-in settings. Siren, cop cars or whatever. It's kind of funny. All right, so it's off right now. So what I had to do to get the rainbow effect last night was basically I had to come up here. Whoop, I'm still in the loop. On the back of the screen, it's got that little LCD panel, and you can change things with that. So to get the color effect last night for the rainbow in one shot, what I had to do is basically you have this little control wheel right here, and I just had to hold this down like that as I'm walking. And you know what? That is too bright that you guys can't see the color change, huh? What if I do it like there? So I have to hold it all weird so that you can see the color change because my big studio light. But I'm holding it down with my right index finger, and you can see that it's slowly shifting colors. And that speed was just about the right speed for me to walk around, and I had a 25-second shutter, and it took me about 20 to 25 seconds to do that circle, and then holding this down and getting that rainbow effect so it's changing as I'm walking. So that was pretty cool. I want to put that back over there, and let's hop into the computer real quick, and I'll quickly go over some of these images and kind of talk to you about a couple things so you can see what I'm doing and what the results were before I started getting the good results that I wanted. And the trial and error, you know, that's what all of this astro stuff takes, really. Especially when you're trying to do lighting stuff by hand and not, you know, controlled. I do like that you have the app for that, and then you can control it with, you know, your smartphone. And if you have just one, or if you have multiple of them, you can set them all up and then control them by the app. But I didn't have that. I didn't do that. I didn't have it set up. I just did it all by hand because I wanted to actually move around in the frame. All right, so let's go into bridge here. A couple of test shots. You can see some of the meteors, the meteorites starting to show up there. So that was pretty cool. You can see some stupid planes, some satellites. Okay, so here's a good control or a difference between like the Lume cubes and stuff. So this first shot right here, this is, let me make this a little bit bigger. So this is just lit up from my headlight that I had on, and you can see this is the reason why I don't like to use my headlights, why I like to use better lights like the Lume cubes, is because you can see the wonky color there. They're obviously not color calibrated in any sort of way, and you can see just the narrow beam and all of that stuff. They're not as good, so I only use them as a last resort if I have to, because they require a lot of color correcting and fixing, and they're uneven and all that. And then you can see here, look at this next one. So this is nice and bright. You can see the beautiful evenness of the light all the way across the frame. Obviously it's too bright right here because that's where I had it pointing, but this light is from the Lume Cube Panel Mini. So that's the one that was lighting my face for the actual video part. And I really love that light because, like I said, it has the ability to do the 1%, which some of the other ones like the Panel Pro I don't think has the ability to do. Again, I haven't like triple checked on that, so I'm not 100% sure, but just cycling through the menus, I don't have the ability to do the 1% on the Panel Pro. But I guess I should note that when, we're going to stop this real quick, that look at this. So we've got, let me change it here. So, okay, so this is daylight calibrated, and you can see how bright that is. So I'm dropping it now down to 5%. That's as low as it goes. So I mean that's still pretty bright. And for astro stuff, the 5% like this is too bright. But watch this. So all I'm going to do is go down to the color, and I'm going to change the color, and instantly as soon as you shift it, because that was at the daylight temperature setting, which is like 5700 Kelvin, And this is now I'm using the color wheel, and the intensity dropped because you're using the different colors. You're not using all of that white light. And so now, even though it's still on 5%, the intensity is a lot less. The lumens, the output is a lot less. And so for astro stuff, that's a lot better too. So anything that you can get to dampen that light, even more diffusers or whatever. And at 5%, this is a different output than at 5% of the regular white light. So I thought that was interesting. I also thought what was interesting is when you change it to the color like this, and you can see, yeah, you can see now that I have like, it's like a blue color or something like that. When you change it to the color, and I have it at 5%, I mean, it says on the back of the screen here, I have 43 hours and 12 minutes of light that I could leave this sitting. So assuming I could get it dark enough for a single exposure, dim enough for a single exposure, what I did with this shot, here let me skip ahead a little bit. So what I did with these shots, obviously this is a crap shot and I'm not going to use it, but look down here and you'll notice that I had the panel mini at 1% and it was still kind of bright. So what I did was I ripped up a bunch of that grass and I sprinkled it on top to basically make more of a diffuser so that it wouldn't blow the tree out. And you know, you can do that with this. You can get like a t-shirt or a cloth or napkin or paper towel or grass, you know, whatever to help dim that. But more importantly, like if I wanted to leave this here for like a 3 to 5 hour time lapse, which is not uncommon for astro time lapses, I would have no problem doing that with this battery life. So here's the first one when I started messing with the color, and again 5%. You can see another meteor right there. A lot of these meteorites are going to show through in the final image when I blended them all together, and I'll show you that here in a minute. So again, I really love that how even this light is, and the fact that we can just make this look any color. And if I had multiple ones, it would be really cool, especially in my desert scenes where I could come back and, you know, light up different cacti or different objects or different rocks or whatever in different complementary colors, or, you know, something like that. So here's putting it, this is before. You can see the blowout right there is super strong. So I would want to maybe blend a couple of images and take it and move the light, you know, and do that. But the tree itself, there's a couple of highlights there that are blown out. But it's a good start, and it's starting to look really cool. So here's another shot where I'm just behind the camera and I just held it and then brought it down from above like that. And that's a much softer, much more even light because inverse square law, you know, when you back up, you're reducing the amount of light. So that's starting to make for a better image. So here's me. So this is another trying to get the pacing right for walking around the tree and seeing what works, and then having Brittany tell me to, you know, speed up or slow down or whatever. So, and then here's another one. We change it to blue, and you know, this is again trying to get that pacing right because it's hard to unless you mark out in advance, you know, which I could have done or should have done maybe, where I was going to step and how long it was going to take me. But I was just kind of eyeballing it as I walked around that tree, and I wasn't counting either, so there was that. So here's the color one, and this is, again, I didn't count this right, and so I had to fix this a little in post, and I just manipulated this little section right here to basically connect that, and then blended another shot into here to get rid of that section. So, and then we take all of these dark shots here, which are just with no light, so we're getting the skies, and there's a bunch of meteorites in the random frames. So then we're going to take all of those together, and basically this is my final blended image. You'll notice this little empty space right here. It looks really wonky, but that wasn't anything artificial that I did. That was the clouds. So that's what happens when you do star trails and you have clouds, especially if the clouds are thicker in any area, and they were thicker down there for a certain amount of time, which kind of messed up my blend mode. And I really just don't feel like trying to fix that, but it's kind of a natural thing anyway, so I'm just going to leave it. Alright, well that was my first experience with the Lume Cube Panel Pro. So if you guys have any questions about anything I did concerning the Astro stuff or the settings or the light or anything like that, leave those in the comments below and I'll answer them. Hit that like button if this video helped you out. I really appreciate it. That's the best thing you can do for my channel. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I do have new videos every week. And quick plug, don't forget that I do have my presets down below, so if you guys like presets for Lightroom or Camera Raw, stuff like that, I have a bunch of presets that I created, that I use, that I love, and you guys have been giving me great feedback from, so I really appreciate the support and the love from that. And one last quick plug, if you guys love time lapses and landscape photography and astrophotography and you want to get some hands-on experience with learning how to do this kind of stuff and learning how to light up things and all kinds of this types of photography, I am very cautiously moving forward with some 2021 workshops. Obviously I canceled most of all of my 2020 workshops, but I am moving forward. I have still had a lot of requests for the 2021 stuff that I already have scheduled, so I'm very cautiously moving forward with that stuff. We're going to be careful, we're going to be safe, all of that stuff, pandemic pending. We're going to hope that we can even travel to the areas what I have planned. That being said, I'm really looking forward to my Olympic National Park workshop, which is in Washington in July, and it's going to be amazing. It's one of my favorite places on this entire planet. We're going to do a ton of astro stuff. We're going to do a lot of landscape stuff, a lot of time-lapse stuff, a lot of long exposure stuff, and we're going to be using a lot of lights and stuff like that, and it's just going to be a really great, amazing time. And if you guys want to join me, check out the links below for the workshops, sign up for my workshop newsletter, and you can stay up to date on if and when and how all of this is going to go down. I've got a lot of other cool workshops coming up as well, but that's it. I'm going to leave it there. It's second breakfast time. Definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've got new videos every week. Hit that like button for me if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me out. That's the best way to support the channel. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.